Hey guys, so last week we learned about evolution and the different forces that are involved in natural selection. We learned about how that natural selection can, and sometimes artificial selection, can shape how and why organisms adapt and evolve the way that they do. Now this week we're going to focus on plants. And so we're here at CSU Stan Greenhouse, and we're going to take a look at some of the different adaptations that plants have evolved. The biggest concept that you need to understand is that plants adapt because of outside forces. These can be the temperature and the humidity of their environment, even the rainfall. They can be pressures to reproduce, such as using pollinators like bees or different animals like bats and birds. And it can be artificial selection when humans utilize these plants for our own good. So let's take a look at some of the plants. Right now I'm standing at the hot and dry end of the greenhouse. Over my shoulder you can see some cacti, and everyone's pretty familiar with this plant, and it's found in desert areas. The interesting thing about this plant is it has adapted its leaves to become spines. So those prickers and spines that we see on cacti are actually the leaves. And the main reason why it's going to do this is because of evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration is basically the rate that water is sucked up by the roots of the plant and then released through the leaves through evaporation. This rate of evapotranspiration is going to depend heavily on environmental factors of temperature and humidity. Plants live in the desert where there's not a lot of water, and so they don't want to lose a lot of their water stores through the evapotranspiration that occurs in the leaf. By having spines that have a very small surface area, they can prevent a lot of this evapotranspiration, and at the same time it acts to protect them from predators. Now we're over here at the cool and humid end of the greenhouse, and behind me you can see some plants including ferns. Notice how they have much higher surface area, big broad leaves. They do not have the specific adaptations that the cacti need because they are not concerned about evapotranspiration when they're living in an environment that has plenty of water and is not too hot. And some plants have even adapted the ability to make fruit. That's to get creatures like us to be attracted enough to eat them. Hopefully then we eat some of their seeds and then cruise around and poop them out later, and that way we transport the seeds around. Some plants even need their seeds to be roughed up, and this is usually done in the digestive tract of the animal. Now let's visit with one of CSU Stan's alumni, Cole Dutter, as he talks about how we use plants in our everyday lives, such as agriculture. Remember that we have artificially selected these plants for our use.
Hey, my name is Cole Dutter. I graduated from CSU Stanislaus in June 2014 with a master's in ecology and sustainability. Previously, I graduated from CSU Stanislaus in 2009 with a bachelor's in agricultural studies and a concentration in permaculture. With those 2 degrees, I am currently the farm-to-school supervisor at Manteca Unified School District in the Nutrition Education Department. My responsibilities here are growing fresh fruits and vegetables sustainably for our cafeterias in our schools. Both of those degrees, both the agriculture and the ecology degree, have allowed me to enter into this position and take over farming here at Manteca Unified School District. Plants are important to everyone. That's all there is to that. The science behind it only helps us grasp the importance more. From phytoplankton producing an insane amount of oxygen, more than most terrestrial plants, to simple things like eating and not being malnourished, actually getting good nutrition is very important. In fact, our schools are just now grasping that and looking for more healthy choices to offer in our cafeterias, and that's part of what I'm doing, is actually growing fresh, sustainable produce here locally for our own school districts to give to our kids, because in order to have healthy adults and healthy children, we must have a healthy environment, and a very large part of that is healthy plants. That's what the whole organic and sustainable farming movement is trying to point out. Not that fertilizers are bad, not that pesticides necessarily are bad, but that we need to encourage plant health in order to reap healthy fruits and vegetables. And that's what they are driving at. I was a organic farmer for 4 years previous to my current position, and there are more loopholes than there are holes in a chain link fence. It is, sadly, it is a bureaucratic level. It is a bureaucratic system that we've placed on top of it, assuming that all farmers need to farm the same way, or that all farmers motives are the same, or that all farmers' view on the environment and the health of their farm is the same. And so we've leveled this yardstick and said, if you meet our yardstick, you're organic, and if you're not, you're somehow lesser. However, organic farms can be just as unhealthy for the environment, for the soil, for the plants that conventional farms can be. And there are conventional farms that are healthier than some organic farms I've seen. At the end of the day, fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, miticides are all tools. And if we use them responsibly, we can have a healthy ecosystem on our farm. If we use them irresponsibly, which has happened, unfortunately, we end up with depleted soils, with imbalance in our food chains, in our orchards, and therefore huge pest outbreaks. We end up with new pests showing up that we've never noticed before, because we've eliminated every other pest from our orchard, so something new fills in to meet the niche. We've had to go to harsher miticides and harsher fungicides because we've created resistance by overuse, primarily by overuse in our orchards, in our vegetable fields. We are also so focused on not losing any crop. We're so focused on making sure that we have 10,000 perfect cabbage heads at the end of the year or the end of the season that we don't even think about what we're doing to our insect communities, what we're doing to our weed communities, what we're doing to the neighboring insect and weed communities by putting on so much sprays. Okay, I'm off my soapbox, but at the end of the day, no, organic farming does not mean healthier. It does not mean more sustainable. In fact, farming here in the Central Valley, farming organically usually means less sustainable because we have to truck in so much material that our carbon footprint is huge.